So my name is Peter Zawadzki, and I'm the CEO of Classics and Exotics. And I want to introduce everybody here to myself 3 years ago. See how happy I am? You know what? It was the time I bought my first classic car. It was a beautiful 1958 MG8. And I love this car more than anything. And I thought nothing could be better than having this car. But you know what? Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to present. Still as happy, slightly older, with a lot more responsibility, and with 3 times as many cars. You know, how did I get here? I let my passion get the best of me. And I realized that I'm overextended a little bit. Not only because of the cost of the car, but also all the additional costs. Insurance, storage, maintenance, and even taxes quickly add up. And with over 20 million vehicles, collector vehicles on the road, and the average owner owning over 4 vehicles, I'm not alone in this. Enter Classics and Exotics, a new marketplace that allows owners to be able to rent out their collector cars to pre-screened, highly qualified renters to be able to monetize their collections. And just in case something goes wrong, we've teamed up with industry leaders to provide you $1 million of liability and physical coverage, the industry's leading roadside service and support provided by Hagerty, right down the street, real-time driver analytics for every single rental provided by SendDrive so we can reward and promote safe driving on our platform. And all of our background checks and screenings are done by NetVerify and LexisNexis. And our platform is very easy. A renter simply rents the vehicle, pays the daily rental fee, a simple 10% booking fee, and now once the rental is done, the owner of the vehicle collects 65% of the fee that they actually chose. They choose the rental fee, we don't. And it is these fees and commissions that allow us to charge 45% per transaction. And the market's only getting bigger. Classics used to be defined as just a 60s or 70s era car. But that definition doesn't hold true to today. Modern cars are considered classics as well. Classics and exotics aren't just defined by the make and the age, but also by the use and the location. And it's this new definition that has helped expand the market to over 20 million vehicles. And with owners already renting out their houses on Airbnb, their daily drivers on sites like Relay Rides and Getaround, and even their boats on Boatbound, Classics and Exotics now allows owners to be able to monetize their classic car collection as well. We're a simple and proven platform, but unlike other platforms, we allow our owners to be able to relocate their assets across the country to be able to extend the rental season. And to go beyond peer-to-peer, we also allow our owners to list their vehicles for events only, to add more security. They can list them for weddings, films, static displays, and photo shoots. And who better than a team of car guys? I myself got my first classic car at the age of 14 and have been spending the last 15 years building nonprofit corporations from the ground up. Michael Sakis, our COO, grew up in a family that always had a unique car in their driveway and has spent a majority of his career managing fixed operations at dealerships. Our CTO, Harsha Vedi, was one of the original members of the Manhattan Car Club while working as senior software architect for firms like Merrill Lynch and Citigroup. And as car guys, we knew that insurance, marketing, and vehicles would be the keys to our success. And to make that happen, we've teamed up with industry leaders, both locally and nationally. M1 Concourse, to be able to be ingrained in the collector car market in the Metro Detroit area. Hagerty, to reach the over 1 million collector cars insured. Mecum Auctions, to market to the over 500,000 potential owners that attend their auctions annually. So, if you'd like to see more people behind the wheels of these amazing vehicles, or want to help owners offset their expenses, please see me afterwards, and let's see where the road can lead.
Nice.
Questions?
Talk about you mentioned about the insurance.
Yes.
So
you have a $1 million liability that comes when they rent it through your system.
Correct. So what ends up happening is, let's say you do have a classic car and you want to make some money on it. We've actually found a lot of people that are already doing it. They're going on Craigslist and be like, hey, rent out my car for a wedding, rent it out for this. But what they don't know is the second they monetize that vehicle, their policy that they currently have in place is null and void. So if something was to happen, they're out of luck. Or if they're renting it out for a wedding and they're like, oh, nothing's going to happen, nobody's driving my car. What happens if you rent out, let's say, a Shelby Cobra replica? The bride gets out of it, burns her leg on the exhaust. Where does that liability fall? With our policy, we have an umbrella policy that covers over everything else. So we are the primary policy that is in place during the rental period on the physical coverage and the liability side. And then we also, like I said, have the roadside service and everything else throughout the process.
So how analogous is this to actually renting out your baby? People are willing to do this?
So, yes. So a couple things, right? I'm a classic car nut. I love my cars. Like I said, that 58 MGA, it's a car I always wanted. If you went to my house right now, well, not even in my house because I ran out of room at my house. It's at my storage garage. It's parked sideways on a set of rollers up against the back wall covered in dust. I don't ever use the thing. I end up driving around my wife's Mini that I actually accidentally bought a couple weeks ago. Long story. But what ends up happening is we have 3 typical customers that we've approached, and we've gone to car shows up and down the East Coast, all across the US. And number 1, absolutely not. I would rather rent out my children than rent out this car. I love this thing. But you know what? I got another one at home I would rent out. Or I know Joe. Joe's got a couple. He would rent them out. Then the other person is, yeah, I would do it a couple times because I'm dying for a new carburetor in the car. Or I'm dying for a new interior. And if I spend any more money on this, my wife is going to kill me and make me sleep on the couch. This is a great way for me to upgrade my car without having to spend that money without having to spend my own money on that vehicle.
Is there a market for people like me who would never buy an exotic car, but now I can?
Yes. We actually get requests for that all the time. We had a gentleman contact us from, I think it was Portland, who read about us, just attended a Ferrari driving class and wanted to get into some type of 80s or 90s Ferrari and couldn't justify it, came across us, sent us a list of cars and goes, which one do you think is going to rent out for the most? We had somebody contact yesterday that wants to buy a Morgan, has been dying to buy a Morgan, but can't justify it. And where we can ultimately grow is once we have a heat map across the US and we can see that certain vehicles are being rented in different areas. Now as an owner up here in the north, what do you do with your car in the wintertime? It sits in storage. What if I tell you, if you bought a classic car, hey, how about you relocate it to Arizona? We will ship it for you. We have storage for you. We have everything else. We will provide you concierge service to be able to rent your car out. You give us the details, how many miles, whatever else it may be, and you'll get a flat check every single month for your car while it would have been sitting in storage that you'd be paying for it. So that's where we can kind of grow.
Tell me about the background screening for the renter.
Okay. So we do a full criminal background check. If you've ever had a felony, you're not on our platform. Sorry. If you've ever had a DUI, I don't care if you're 40 and you had an indiscretion at the age of 16, you're not on our platform. If you've had more than 1 major in the last 3 years, you're not on our platform. If you had more than 2 minors in the last year, you're not on our platform. And then on top of all of our background checks, we also do a 3D facial scan for identity verification as well. And we have our mobile app for when the rental does happen, we have a full mobile app and a checkout process that way. Yes?
Do you have a data retention policy for all the information you gather?
Hmm?
Do you have a data retention policy for all the
We do.
information you gather?
Yeah.
And you store it?
Thanks to Lloyd's of London.
Lloyd's of London?
Well, they're the ones that made us put one together in the beginning.
Very good.
How are you setting pricing for
The owner. I can't tell.
any wacky stuff they think of?
We give them a minimum because obviously we need to cover our expenses, all the insurance and all the checks. But what ends up happening is I can't tell you how much your car is worth to you. Only you know how much your car is worth to you. So we allow the owners. For example, we had a gentleman sign up a Lamborghini Gallardo out in Seattle. Contacted us and he listed it for $600 a day. I call him up. I'm like, hey, you know that this car is available at rental car shops not that far away from you for $1,200. You're cutting them in half. He goes, 600 is good enough for me. That's what I want for the car. So it is completely up to the owner of the vehicle.
We have quite an extensive classic car collection, including a 58 MGA. I'm just wondering though, I mean, they're not all in perfect condition.
They're not.
Is there a screening process for, you know, like maybe this one isn't perfect and
So we're gonna be very heavy on the onboarding process in the beginning. We're launching in the Detroit area, Arizona, and Florida. Then we're rolling out across the U.S. after that. But in regards to that, what ends up happening is there's a built-in rating system on our site. So the person that's renting the car, the owner of the car, as well as the car itself are all rated independently. So for example, you may have a perfect owner who has 3 or 4 cars, but one of their cars in their collection may be a little bit subpar. And what's also mandatory in our process is we mandate a test drive with the owner of the vehicle, a quick little 5-minute test drive. For example, an MGA, you know, the horn's in the middle right here, the blinkers right here. You know, you need to work those things out. And also in our mobile app, you're required to take 5 photos of the vehicle to show the condition of the vehicle and rate the quality of the engine, rate the quality of the brakes, rate the quality of the clutch, all of that. So all that information is then gathered. And what we like to say is we will know more about your car than your insurance company ever will.
because not everyone will want, I mean, maybe they're doing a photo shoot or whatever, they may not want a perfect Jay Leno car.
And you know what? A lot of this is for the auto enthusiasts. You know, I have a bucket list of cars I would always love to own. My wife is going to kill me if I keep on buying more cars. But if I could rent one out for a day or two and try it out and get it out of the way, that'd be great. Or if it's a car I'm shopping for, let's say I always wanted a 65 Mustang. I've never driven one. How do I know I want a 65 Mustang? You can't go to a classic car dealership, be like, hey, can I take it for a test drive? They don't have that ability to. We are working with them to hopefully make our platform what they use to be able to ensure their test drives. But this way you can actually test drive a couple of classic cars, find the right one. We had a gentleman that rented a TR6 from us as a demo. It was his dream car, loved the car, always wanted it, rented it out for his wedding, gave it to him for a weekend. Once the weekend was done and we picked the vehicle up, he goes, absolutely not. I hate this car. Because he didn't realize it because it was actually a little bit cold out, so he had to have the top on. He was tall. He drove like this the entire time. He wouldn't have known that if he went to go shop for it. Nobody's going to show a car like that with the top on it. You know, nobody's going to give you a test drive with the top on the car. So we see a lot of growth market there and helping the sales market and getting more people my age. You know, I'm 35. You don't see people 35 that have a classic car collection that are into these types of vehicles. My personal goal is to get more people my age behind the wheels appreciating these vehicles and give them a road to potential ownership.